Dr. Chris Bishop. Hello, sir. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Muslim. Thanks for having me on today.
Well, it's my pleasure that you are with us. There are a lot of guests every time they are coming here, and we have a chit chat with them. And this is the podcast. We are, learning a lot of things out of you guests. So thank you so very much, sir, for joining into us and having our precious time.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm honored to be here today.
My pleasure, my pleasure. So just tell me, briefly introduce how you came into this world of quality. What I believe that very few people come into this field of quality. How you came into this field of quality?
It was almost like love at first sight. My undergraduate work is in industrial and systems engineering, and I went to University of Florida, and as an undergraduate, I took a course on project management and Lean Six Sigma and process improvement, and it really struck a chord with me. I really liked the idea how you could use a structured approach, use data analysis to help make better decisions. And so once I got out, I started working as a manufacturing engineer, and I just kept building my career, building my depth of knowledge to make a bigger impact at where I worked and in my community ultimately. And so just kept going from there. That's where it started.
Okay, that's great. That's awesome. It means that the quality is your first love, and you love at first sight.
there you go. Next to my wife and my kids, yes.
And you were telling me that you are using your wife's PC right now.
Yeah, that's right.
If everybody is, seeing name, it's not Lindsay, it's Bishop, Sir Bishop talking to us right now.
Yes, apologies. Last night my computer broke, and I didn't have a computer, so I had to find one in the midterm, and so this is what we have. So apologies, everyone.
Okay, so it's okay. Never mind. So okay, just tell me, can you explain, Sir Bishop, that what Lean Sigma is and how it differs from the traditional process improvement methodologies? Just brief for our audience regarding this stuff.
Yeah, no, great question. So Lean Six Sigma are the combination of two different process improvement methodologies. First was Lean, which was the Americanized version of the Toyota production system that really started going in the United States in the 1980s, and where the big focus there is on reducing waste, identifying, reducing waste, and it's a very powerful methodology. And then also in the 80s, Six Sigma got started at Motorola, and so in the early 2000s, those two methodologies combined, and Six Sigma is really focused on reducing variation, reducing defects in processes, and so they combine those two, and they work out really well. Where one you really focus on reducing the waste, and the other one reducing the variation, in very structured problem solving approach that's data focused.
Okay, that's great. You really answer very well. I just want to ask that do you think that people are really getting benefited out of this Lean Six Sigma? Are they really, implemented in the organizations? What do you say about it?
Yeah, I do. I think that it is the most advanced problem solving methodology that we know about now. Right. I think that there's places where it can go in the future, but this is a proven methodology that's been the results of it have been replicated all over the world. So I think there are a lot of organizations are getting substantial benefits from it. There are organizations who also struggle with it. I mean, there's a lot of critical success factors that you have to have in place to really implement this well. And it's not just a program of the week kind of a deal. You have to really buy in because it changes everything about your business. You can't just go have the folks over in quality say, go implement Lean Six Sigma. It goes throughout the entire organization, into your supply chain, into human resources, into the top levels of leadership. If everyone's not bought in, it's not for you. It's not going to work. And I think that there's a lot of misunderstanding about that in industry as a whole.
Exactly. Mr. Crest, it's all about the cost reduction. What I believe that, where there is some problem, it's cutting the cost of the process, So Lean Six Sigma means it's reducing the wastes and cutting the cost, both on the same time. So I just want to ask you, I was, going through your LinkedIn profile. You have initiated a great step over there. That is a 5 minutes. I will talk about the 5 minutes video. That
Thank you.
was a very wonderful. I was get impressed by your methodology. The 5 minutes video, because nowadays people don't have time to watch the long videos. So
Right.
you made them very well. They are very much people can understand very well about the Lean Six Sigma. So just brief a few methodologies you are telling us in those videos.
Yeah. So the reason how that all came to being is I didn't mention this earlier, but I'm transitioning from almost 20 years in industry into academia full time. Next month, I'll be joining the College of Business faculty at Florida Atlantic University full time. So I'm really excited
Wow,
about
that's
that.
great! Congratulations.
Thank you, thank you. And
Very well.
so I've been trying to think about how I can add more value for my students, and then again for organizations that I work with. And just like you said, we kind of live in the Twitter generation, right? So
Yeah.
really they want people want to have the information that they need in a compact way that they could really digest quickly. And so I gave the challenge to myself. I'm like, well, can I explain some of these critical concepts in Lean and Six Sigma and project management and data analytics? Can I explain that in 5 minutes or less? And some of my videos are a little bit longer than 5 minutes, but they're around 5 to 10 minutes in all. And what I try to do is to say, hey, what is this specific tool? Why is it important? When's a good time to use it? And then I try to walk through an example really quick so people can have the data, and then they can go out and they can try to implement in their organizations. So that's something that I've been working on. And I first started out with like one video per week. I started out with just doing one message, and then I was like, okay, let me try videos. And now I do 2 videos a week, and I've been getting a lot of really good feedback on LinkedIn about that. And so we'll continue to do that as long as people are interested.
Okay, I will definitely appreciate you for what you are doing, because what I am doing, what you are doing, what anybody is doing on the online platform, they are changing the mind of the people. So
Yeah.
they are educating in their own style. Mr. Chris, just tell me something that what is your favorite tool in the Lean Six Sigma, and then define few tools so that I know a lot of people they know every tool, but they don't know where to use the tools.
Yeah.
So just guide them. What is your favorite tool and how to manage which tool they will use where.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So it's kind of difficult for me. It kind of feels like you're asking me to pick my favorite child. So
Okay, okay. There are lots. It means there are a lot of tools you like.
yeah. There was. It's kind of what you were alluding to. It all depends on the specific situation that you find yourself in for what tool that you need.
So I just take it like that how you will choose the exact tool for the specific situation.
Yeah, exactly. So for me, I think that the one that is one of the ones that are most valuable is the Pareto chart, because it helps you take all this data on whatever your process is.
80-20 rule. Yeah.
Exactly. The 80-20 rule, right? So the 20% of your process that is having 80% of the effect, right? So once
Yeah.
you know where to focus and where to spend your time, because I mean that's a limiting resource. We don't have unlimited time. You really can dig in and make a big benefit for your organization or your community. So I would say that's probably my favorite tool. Other ones, once you know where you need to focus, I think a impact effort matrix. I mean, that's a really quick tool to say, okay, great, I have all these ideas, all these potential solutions for me to focus on those 20%. Which things should I focus on? Really quick, you can see where you need to put your time and effort in. And then value stream mapping. I
was just going to say the value stream mapping is a great tool. Yeah.
It is. Yeah. And because I think it's great. I mean, I think, a lot of organizations start with, process mapping. I think that's a great tool. It's one of the 7 basic quality tools, but really the 3 different maps all together on a value stream map. When you have your information, you have your material flow, and then you have your data there about each one. I think it's really powerful. And then it gets that make sure that everyone on the team understands those 3 flows and how it's related. So I think it's a very, very powerful tool.
Okay, that's good. Mr. Chris, just tell me something. And a lot of people right here, they want to know about this thing. That what are these, belts? What is the black belt? What is green belt? And you and me know this thing. But a lot of our viewers want to know that you are a black belt, how this started, and and what is the process, you how you achieve this plan, because a lot of people, they will be watching over video to to go for their future, for their lean Six Sigma black belt. So
Yeah.
how this originated, the black belt, green belt, yellow belt? Please elaborate us.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So the gentleman that created the Six Sigma in the 1980s, they were martial arts enthusiasts, and
Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah.
and so they as they put together the different knowledge and skills that people that were going to be leading these types of efforts would had, they naturally related that to their passion, which was martial arts. So a green belt is someone who has good knowledge, as more than the basic knowledge about Lean Six Sigma. They're the project leaders, people who can kind of really get in there, and they can lead small process improvement teams, in whatever business, in the manufacturing floor, supply chain, whatever it is, even in service industries, or hospitals, for example. Black belts, they have the advanced statistical knowledge, and so typically with black belts, it's a full-time gig. Green belts, they usually are like they're a manufacturing engineer, an industrial engineer, or some process improvement person that's not their whole job. They're doing something else. They have to get this training. Black belts, it's their full-time job. They're managing a number
The
of
whole
different green
project.
belts.
They are the
Yeah,
boss of the
exactly.
whole project. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
exactly, exactly, and they have multiple projects throughout, and then Master Black Belt is the highest level. They're responsible for the training across maybe a business unit. They're like the right hand man or woman of like the chief operations officer or the vice president, and they're making sure the implementation and the strategy is all tied together and flows throughout the business.
Okay, amazing. That's amazing. So, Mr. Bishop, just another question in my mind, that in your experience, what are the most significant benefits organizations can achieve by implementing Lean Six Sigma principle? What are their
What,
benefits?
yeah, what are the so there and with Lean Six Sigma there's there's a host of different benefits, right? So you increase your process efficiency, you reduce costs, as we talked about earlier, you reduce the amount of defects, but you implement, you have data driven decision making, I think, which is really important. But what I really get excited about is when you build that continuous improvement culture, because then when you're seeing problems out in the manufacturing floor or whatever, it's not being seen as a problem, a bad thing. It's like, oh great, there's a problem, there's an issue here. Here's an opportunity for us to get better for ourselves, for our customers, and then ultimately for society. So it's that's my favorite part. And I think that's the biggest benefit one can have in a Lean Six Sigma implementation.
Well, that's great. Well, no doubt they are the good benefits. And could you share a real life success stories of how Lean Six Sigma was applied to transfer a process or in an organization?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of my favorite Lean Six Sigma project implementations was I was working for a business. I was an engineering manager, industrial engineering manager, and Lean Six
Okay.
Sigma manager. And Lean Six Sigma had been tried at this organization, but it didn't take. So there had already been past failures, and they were trying to reinvigorate the effort. I wasn't there previously, so we looked across.
What was the kind of the what is the kind of the problem? What was the problem?
So no one really knew about it, right? So I was coming through there in my interview for the job, and there was like different color coding on the wall that was supposed to indicate something. And I asked the folks that were there, I'm like, what does this mean? They're like, I don't know, I have no idea. What it was. So
Okay.
there was like remnants of Lean Six Sigma being there. And of course, it's a classification system, right? So it's like, different colors mean something else. So you can see something, say, okay, when I see a product in this specific area, I know that it's time for me to go get that product. Or if there's not something there, like kind of like a Kanban system, that kind of stuff. But people didn't know. They're like, this has been painted these colors for a while. We don't know why it's here. We've done some of this stuff here, but it really wasn't. It wasn't a part of the culture of that organization. It had long since passed.
Okay.
What we did is we took a look, we stepped back and said, okay, where's the biggest opportunity for us to kind of go in? And so what we did was we found one specific production area that contributed the most to the bottom line for the organization and the volume of output. We took a look at that specific product line, and then we held a Kaizen event, right? We said, okay, great. Let's get a value stream mapping event to kind of see how things flow together. So we got all that together. We built the value stream.
How you get the data?
How do we go down to the people, right? So we have to go down, and we know you
Gamba walk.
Yeah, you talk to the supervisor of the area. Say, how do you know what you're supposed to be doing each day? How do you know how long each one takes? And so they're able to give you some information, but not all the time, right? You have to validate some of that stuff. So my team and I, we went out, we did time studies of certain critical processes. Once we've identified what those things were, we did it multiple times, multiple operators, get some of that data together. Then it's all about tact time, right? When you're getting value stream maps
exactly.
Together, right? So
there's a cycle time, there is a tact time.
Yeah, exactly. So we're taking a look like, okay, what is our customer demand out there? What is our working day? What does that look like? And so we built the tact time, and then say, okay, as it goes through, and it was a multi-step process, 11 different steps that had to go through. Okay, we need to move at this date, right? So at this time, everything has to move. So we started getting that together. We got multi-tier boards that were out there, from the work cell to the group to the overall project, and then all the way up to the highest levels of the organization, where the vice presidents, the directors, all those people would be at each and every day, where we'd say, okay, we're looking at safety, we're looking at delivery, we're looking at cost, we're looking at our people. Do we have the right resources and stuff out there? And we had different measures for each one of those. So it took us about 6 months, but we had significant cost savings that we had there, and it ended up being about $1 million worth of savings in that first year. So
what was your price? You told us that they were offering some price. So did they give you price?
Well, they recognized the organization, right? So we had a party and all that kind of good stuff. But my prize, the biggest thing was that, hey, we're making a impact for our customers. We have this cost savings. This is something good, and because of that, we're able to keep jobs in the United States, right? So those are things, we're being competitive. So that was something that was really beneficial for us.
Okay, that's great. That was amazing answer, Mr. Bishop. I really want to know. I want to understand. I want to get this thing. What is quality for? And then I will come to the AI. What is quality for? How organizations are adopting in US?
Yeah, what is quality for? So, I mean, there's a number of different definitions of quality, right? So, I like the Duran definition. When you're meeting the specifications of your customer, but then I think it can go further than that, right? So the delighting your customers. So whenever they're getting whatever product or service that they have, they're like, man, this is a really great value. I'm glad that I have this. And then it motivates them to want to buy more of your product or service. So I think that's the,
just tell me that our company is adopting this methodology, quality 4. Have you seen a lot of companies are going towards quality 4 and then quality 5?
I'm sorry.
Industry 4, industry 5.
I misunderstood your question. Yeah. So I think when we're talking about the quality 4, talking about quality and it integrating with all the other things that are out there.
Yes. Industry 4. I'm talking about the industry 4, quality 4.
Yeah. So like artificial intelligence, right? Data science, like where I think things like are specifically going, and when we're talking about quality 4.0. For instance, is so Lean and Six Sigma. Again, they were combined in the early 2000s, and we have a lot of data for that. Things have been going very well, but where are we going to next? I think things like data science is the next big thing there, right? And you're already seeing some of the early remnants of that. The Institute of Industrial Engine and Systems Engineers, I'm a part of their organization. They have conferences each year. I've been speaking in the last couple of years about this very thing, about how data science is specifically going to be the next thing. Of course, data science leads right into machine learning into artificial intelligence.
Python, machine learning, yes.
Yeah, how all that's tying together, right? Because now that we have tools that we're able to like just something easy, right? So like data visualization. So using things like Tableau and Power BI to really, after you go through and you implement some solution to your process, and then you're able to visualize
So
it.
what do you think? What do you say that what is the future of AI? What is the future of human beings? What do you say? You are living in a
Yeah,
superpower state. You are living in America. So what do you
yeah,
think? What is the future? What is the future of AI?
yeah. So I can't say what the future is of AI for everything. I'll say the way that I think that it's going to affect us in quality and Lean Six Sigma. I think it's going to be a complement, right? So AI is transformational. It's going to change the way that we live. Much like the iPhone did, right, or the internet, or something like that. It's going to be like that, but on a bigger level. I'm not afraid of it. I think that since the
You're
dawn
not
of man,
afraid at all.
no.
But
I'm not
there
afraid
are
of
there are a lot of people they are afraid of AI because they are saying that it can create a lot of joblessness in the whole world. So that's why they are afraid.
Yeah, but if you take a look at what industry 2.0 or the 2.0 or 3.0, there's all these
Industry
types of things.
1.0, Industry
Yeah,
2.0, industry. Whenever a new revolution is coming, the people are getting afraid.
exactly the same thing, right? So this is something that we've seen before. It's the same old script, right? So yes, it is going to be disruptive. There are going to be a lot of jobs that are lost that are going to go away, but there's going to be a lot of opportunities as well. I'm a
Yeah, yeah.
glass half full kind of guy, just so I think there's going to be a lot of things that are out there. We as a species have been looking since the dawn of mankind for things to help make our lives easier, and this is just something else that we're going to be able to have to help us dig down and do our jobs better, live our lives better.
Mr. Trust, what I also believe on this thing because what I believe that it will increase and enhance our productivity. The
Yeah,
persons who they will not use the AI tool, they will be like having the less capability and the less productivity, and the people who are getting into AI, they will be more productive in the future.
yeah,
I want to
I
ask
agree.
you, yeah, please carry on.
Yeah. The way that I say that is like AI is most likely not going to take your job. The person that's going to take your job is the person that is using AI, right? Because you're not going to be able to compete against someone that has a tool like AI.
Exactly, exactly. I want to ask you how the students, the youngsters, they are taking the technology in America. Most of the people here, the nature of the job sets here in over, we are underdeveloped countries. We are living in Pakistan. Here, the
Mhm.
things are getting higher and higher again with the passage of time. What do you think? How the youth is seeing towards the technology? Are they interested in education or the technical subjects or not? What do you think about it?
Yeah, I think one of the things that I've mainly been teaching graduate students like MBA,
Okay,
executive MBA.
okay.
I have done some undergrad work, but one of the great things about how as a hiring manager, if I'm hiring someone coming out of college, typically the types of engineers that I would hire have fantastic technological skills. They know all the different tools and stuff, but they don't have the experience that some of the more senior workers that didn't get trained in that specific technology have, right? So that's one big benefit that they've had. Now, I do think that with AI and all those tools and like retooling, I think that that's going to be less of a case in the future, because I think that for us as people that are out in industry, we're going to have to stay up to speed with all the other stuff for us to continue to make an impact for our organizations. But I think youngsters that are out there, that people that are in college, they're excited, right? They want to see how they can make a difference, and they can't do it with experience, right? Because I mean, they're young, so they can't. So the one big advantage that they have is like, okay, let me learn the newest technology so I can go off out there. So I think that's going to continue to be the case.
Okay, that's great. Perfect. So, Mr. Trust, just tell me, as a master black belt, we were talking about the youth, as a master black belt in the Lean Six Sigma, what advice will you give to the aspiring professionals, young professionals who want to excel in this field?
Yeah. So the thing that I would say is continue to learn. It isn't like, no, when someone gets out of college, they think that they, that their learning is over. That couldn't be further from the truth. As soon as you're done and you have your degree as an undergraduate, that's enough to get you started. But the world continues to change. The pace of change now is faster than ever. So to remain relevant in your field, to continue to make an impact in your communities, you're going to have to continue to retool. So my advice would be, continue to learn, join professional organizations like ASQ, like PMI, American Society of Engineering Management, Industrial Institute of Industrial Engineers, whatever flavor that you want. There is a professional organization there that can help you network for future job opportunities, can help you network for research opportunities, or to just learn more. So I would say that would be some of the advice that I would give.
Perfect. That's great. So I just want to ask you another question as well. That here in Pakistan, the students. I am also a teacher. I'm also teaching the graduates as well here in the Pakistan. To the engineers. What I have seen that the old students, they were giving more respect to the teachers than this is the Gen Zs. They are not giving that much respect to the teachers. What do you say in America? What you are seeing there?
Yeah. So I think that kind of goes back to like right now, like with the Gen Zers, I think that my generation, that it was a lot more like, okay, here's the hierarchy of an organization or a society or whatever, and say, okay, when I come out, like I'm here and I've got to work my way up, right? And so we thought, okay, this was the natural way of things. I think Gen Z comes out right here and they're like, hey, I want to be here. Why am I not here? And they don't necessarily say they need to put in the work or anything like that to kind of get there. They're like, this is where it's at and this is where I want to be. I don't think that's necessarily bad. I mean, they know what they want. They want to get it. I think it's contingent on us as leaders to say, okay, great. You want to be in that position. You want to be a vice president, or you want to be a president, or you want to be an engineering manager. This is what it takes to do that. Here's the plan. Let's work together to get you to where you need to go. When I've had conversations with folks like that, I've had a lot better feedback and buy-in than just saying, oh well, wait, hey, but because you're part of this generation, I don't know. I think a lot of the times that once those types of things come out about a generation, they can kind of paint the whole generation bad, right? And so I don't want that to be the case. I think it's an individual by individual case.
Yes, exactly. You're perfectly all right. Mr. Chris, I want to know more about what is the quality mindset? How do you define a quality mindset? Because I have met a lot of people that don't believe on the word called quality. They believe that it's just a bullshit. It's nothing. They give a main focus on the production. So right. How you will say that the quality is also a good part, we also should have to follow the quality.
Well, no, it's interesting. I mean, I've heard people too say things like that, but then I asked them, I'm like, did you drive here in a car this morning? And they're like, yes. I'm like, okay, when you get in, did you expect your car to start? And they're like, well, yes, of course. Then you believe in quality, right? Like when you buy a new television or a new computer, you expect it to work the first time. Well, that's a lot of very talented, hardworking professionals that made that happen for you, right? So I find that it's more of a lack of education than an actual belief, right? Because we expect things to work that we give resources for. So that's the argument that I usually give when people say that they don't believe that. And then I kind of go through some of the different tools, like, okay, well, great. Well, now you've bought that new computer. How much should it cost? Right? And then we go talk about the cost of quality, about the prevention cost, the appraisal cost, internal, external failure cost.
The cost of bad quality is much more than the quality of the good cost.
Exactly. And so once we get into those types of conversations, either they no longer want to talk to me because because they're like, okay, that's enough, or they're a convert, or they want to go off and they want to learn more.
Okay, Mr. Bishop, we are just coming back after a break, and I will send you a link, and then you will again join me, and we are coming back after just 1 or 2 minutes.
Okay.
Okay, so Mr. Chris, I want to ask you that can you please discuss the role of the leadership in driving successful Lean Six Sigma initiatives and fostering a culture of the continuous improvement?
Yeah, I think it's absolutely critical. There's been a significant amount of studies. I think I mentioned earlier, I'm an active researcher in the field. There's a number of different studies about critical success and critical failure factors and how that's tied to successful implementations. So leadership, time and time again, comes back as the number one impact factor that you have out there. Before you can have a successful Lean Six Sigma implementation, your top leadership has to really believe it, really support it, and then just and when I say, I don't mean just like support it with like saying, hey, yes, this is a good thing. They have to believe it. They have to communicate it in their deeds and their actions. So I think it's absolutely critical that leadership is bought into your Lean Six Sigma vision, and if not, it's not going to work.
Mr. Chris, I was sitting with some of the high rank officer yesterday, and I was just talking this thing with that person. I was saying that not a HSE program, not a Lean Six Sigma program, and not a quality management program can be a part of the organization without the will of the top management.
Yeah.
They cannot be that much successful because the top management have to be on the front page in implementing these programs. So you are very right that because the top management should play a very vital role.
Right,
So
right.
I am just another question from you. As industries evolve, how do you stay up to date with the latest trends and the advancements in the Lean Six Sigma and project management and the quality management? What you will say about it?
Yeah, so one of the big things that I do is stay active and stay involved in professional industry associations. So like your American Society of Quality, they have webinars, they have trainings, they have all these different things. They have groups that you can be a part of. I stay active that way. Also, have you heard of the Feynman technique for learning something?
No, please tell about yes. Please tell us
So we
about
had
this.
there was a famous scientist. His name's Richard Feynman, and he won the Nobel Prize, and so he's a really influential guy. But he had a technique for learning something, and it's very, very simple, and so it's something that I try to do. So the first thing that you should do in the Feynman technique is to pick some topic that you're interested in. Pick that topic and study it. Once you've done that for whatever time period, call it a month, 3 months, whatever it is, or a week even, go and teach it to a child. So try to teach what you've learned to a child. And then, of course, that child's going to ask you questions about it, and you'll have gaps in your knowledge. So once you try to answer the questions and you'll run into problems where you can't answer all the questions. Then you go back and you fill those gaps, and then you go back and you do it again. So it's a cyclical style. So it's called the Feynman technique. So I try to do that where I see where the gaps in my knowledge are, and then I go and I try to build on that.
I just believe I will agree with you because in the last episode I was with one of my teachers, my mentor, and that podcast is in Urdu, in our local language. I have just uploaded on my YouTube channel, and he was also saying that this is the best method by which we can learn. You know why I started this podcast? Because I am learning from a lot of guests. I have all the knowledge. I have the knowledge about the project management. I have knowledge about the quality management. I know a lot of things about the Lean Six Sigma, about 5S, about Kaizen, continual, about everything because I teach people. But when I talk to professionals like you, I gain a lot of new things which I really don't understand before.
Yeah.
So
go ahead.
So this is the reason that's why I have started this podcast. What you have told me.
No, I think that's really interesting. I mean, it's part of like on my journey as well. As I'm creating these 5 minutes with Dr. B videos, I get this information, I send it out, and I get feedback on it right away. And so that's the great thing is that I'll send it out, and if no one watches the video, I'm like, oh, okay, well, number one, maybe they don't like the topic or they don't like the way that I'm explaining it, and then I can come back and I can try again and send it out.
Let me tell you something, Mr. Bishop. Let me tell you something. You are doing a creative job. The people who really love your work, like I really love your work. You are doing an amazing job. But there is a problem in our society, and what is that problem? The problem is people don't watch technical stuff.
Uh,
They want something else. They
yeah.
do love to watch different stuff. They watch different contents. The people like us, they want technical stuff, And by the way, how much time do you get? How you manage time to make videos, And how you make these videos? And do you use the AI tool anywhere in those videos or not?
Oh, that's a great question. So what I do, I'm very structured in the way that I work. So I'll get up and I'll go through. And so again, like I'm listening to podcasts, I'm watching videos, I'm reading articles. So this is my life, right? So this is something that I'm passionate about.
Same here.
And
Same here.
yeah. And then once you're doing something that you're really passionate about, it doesn't feel like work, right? So it's really important to me to be there for my wife, for my children, for my family. So in between, like having kids taking naps or doing something with my kids, I'm studying, trying to get better at my craft. And, like anything, like your podcast, I'm sure you get better as you keep doing it. So it took me a while to create my first video because I was using the technology and trying to figure out where the ideas come from, all my resources. And now it's, once I decide on a topic, it doesn't take me very long. I go and I create a PowerPoint slide so I can kind of make sure that I get it together. Once I do that, I use tools like ChatGPT or Bard. I go in and I'm saying, this is what I want to say. And how can you say it a different way? And then how do I say this more engaging? I put my general ideas out there, but I find that the AI tools that are currently available really help me brainstorm and give me feedback. And that I'm like, okay, I like this. I don't like this. Let me change this. And I can keep iterating. So that's how I've been using AI in the past. And then the videos I'll go through. I'll shoot them.
There are a lot of tools who are people you are using nowadays. They can edit the video, they can make the video, and they can use the voiceover in the video within 1 minute. Within 1 minute.
I know it's amazing. I personally I try to, because they're short videos, the editing, I don't do a ton of editing, because what I'm trying to do is make it as authentic as I can be. The point that you mentioned earlier about folks not really wanting to get involved with technology. I do the best I can to still make it like we're having a conversation, that it's just like me and whoever the person is. And they hear me thinking sometimes, say, or something like that, where, typically you'd want to cut some of that stuff out, or you have a different voiceover. I don't know. I try to keep that personal touch in there as much as I can.
Mr. Perfectly, you are telling all right. Why I approach you? Because your videos were really awesome. Because they were conveying the message which you want to give us. So that's what I was saying, that this man is amazing. I would definitely ask him the questions, and definitely should have invited in my podcast, because they were concise, they were up to the mark, and they have the good content within the 5 minutes. So that was one of the amazing things. So right now I have a question from the Lean Six Sigma point of view. So what do you think what is Six Sigma? How you will tell? This is very basic question. What is Six Sigma? When I didn't know about Six Sigma, I really never get to understand what is Six Sigma. I always have the concept in my mind that Sigma is something bad. Six Sigma, six bad things, But when I came to know a few years back, I just, it's not. Sigma is something else. So just brief about to our viewers, what is Six Sigma?
Yeah, well, there's a number of different ways to answer that. So at the highest level, Six Sigma is a process improvement methodology.
Exactly.
But at its most basic level, though, it's a statistical term, right? So sigma is your standard deviation. So when you say 6 standard deviations, the amount of data, if you're looking at your normal probability distribution curve, if you take into account the 6 standard deviations underneath that curve, then that data is like something like 99.9% of the data in there. So once you get into that Six Sigma level of quality, the probability of having a defect in your process is incredibly low.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Perfect. Tress, Dr. Tress, I really want to ask you that how you people are dealing with the climate change in America, because I am one of the persons who really appreciate the workings for the climate change in Pakistan, and I'm a
Right.
true believer of it.
Yeah.
A
Yeah.
few days back, it was the hottest day of 2023.
Yeah.
Last week, I'm talking about the last week. So how you people want to mitigate climate change? How you people are working on it?
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of kind of debate, kind of going back and forth, and like in our own political system.
And
One
what's
side
your belief?
saying,
What's your belief? Is there any
"Oh, was
sustainability
oh
kind of stuff is or not?
I would yeah, I don't think there is much doubt that we as people have had an impact on the
The planet
our
Earth.
planet. Yeah, I think there's too much science. There's too much data, right? That would say that is something that is untrue. I think for people so it goes back to change management, and I think that's why I applaud your efforts in that, because we as quality professionals and Lean Six Sigma professionals, we deal with change all the time. I think that's one of the big problems there, because people have to change the way that they're living, right? So if I have to go to the store and I have to buy a light bulb that's 10 times as expensive because it's a sustainable, good for the environment light bulb, or I can buy something much less expensive, why am I going to spend that extra money? And unless I really understand that, I'm not going to do that. But it's a change management thing. So I think that we as a society in America and the world have to get better at really articulating the why and why we should change, if that makes sense.
Well, perfectly. All right. That's awesome. Okay, Mr. Chris, I really want to ask you that what are some common challenges organizations face when adopting Lean Six Sigma, and what do you feel about it? And how do you recommend overcoming them? What do you say
Yeah.
about it?
I say that probably the biggest obstacle we have to overcome is the resistance to change right out of the gate, right? So in some places that I've worked, I've worked in manufacturing,
So, how we
aerospace.
can motivate the people of the organization? How we can motivate the top management?
Yeah. So that resistance to change comes there because the number one thing is like fear, right? So it's, if I come into this organization, I'm going to change this specific process, and then maybe my job is no longer going to be required. I'm not going to be working. I have to do something different. Maybe I don't like it as much. So I think that's the biggest thing, and the way that I've overcome it in the past.
Dr. Press, I'm sorry, I want to ask you, why do people get fearful? A few days back, I was in a podcast with Nancy, and she was telling me that why we are fearful about our jobs, that, why we are silent in the organizations. So this is
Yeah.
one of the reasons that people are fearful that they may lose their jobs.
Yeah, absolutely. They because the economics, right? So if I lose my job, then I won't have enough money to pay for the basic things. I'm at my house, my car, my family. I won't be able to support them if I have to do that. So I think that's one thing. I'll lose the job. Second thing is, if I'm doing it differently, I'm not as comfortable in this new way of doing something. So I'm no longer the expert. People aren't coming to me anymore. I'm new at something. And so some people fear change for that reason. They know what they're doing right now. And they're comfortable with it. So why do something different is often the types of things that we have to face as process improvement professionals. And the way that I handle that is that, first of all, I make sure that they have a voice in it. When we're taking a look at a process, they are the subject matter experts. Tell me how you're doing something. So we'll go through and we'll look at it. We'll sit there, we'll be shoulder to shoulder and say, okay, well, here, I have some ideas for how we can make this better. And when they say better, like, let's make it faster. Let's reduce the defects. And the reason why that's important, because if we don't do that, there's another company out there that's doing the same exact thing that we are. And if they get much better at it than we are, then our customers are going to go there, and you're not going to have a job anyhow, right? So
Exactly.
we have to get better. We have to get better, or we're going out of business, right? So that's kind of the way that I've communicated that in the past.
Amazing, awesome. and time is passing very fast, and we have a lot of questions. Acha, what if when I ask you right now that there are two school of thoughts. I'm talking about the teaching right now.
Mhm.
I'm a teacher, but apart from the teacher, I'm a professional as well. I'm a Lean Six Sigma expert. I work in an industry. I work in an organization, and I am also as a part time. I also teaching in a university. So, what do you say? The teacher should be a part of the professional organization, or what? How do you say? Because there are few teachers that don't know anything about the industry. Practically, they don't know, but
Yeah.
they're teaching the same subjects in the universities, in the
Gotcha.
academy.
Yeah.
What do
No,
you say
no.
about
So,
it?
yeah, no. So before I answer the question, where do you find the time to create your podcast and all that stuff? I mean, that's a lot going
Well,
on
it's my
there. So,
passion. Let me tell
yeah.
you, I'm a student. I'm a student. I'm a student. I'm a teacher, and I'm a professional. I'm a trainer, and I am, living with my family. We are
Yeah.
hanging around, and I'm doing all this time. There is a work-life balance all around.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. I
my
understand.
wife is quite happy with me.
Yeah, there you go. That's fantastic. So yes, you and I are definitely on similar journeys. So I think that there's a big problem there. I think there's a big disconnect between what is being taught in our colleges and our universities, and then what's happening in industry. So one of the things that I've wanted to do, because I was in industry for so long, wanted to go back and see, okay, what are the cutting edge things that academia knows about that hasn't been communicated yet? And how can I be a conduit between the two different worlds? Because that's kind of how I feel. Like you said, two different schools of thought, two different worlds almost. And they're motivated by different things. Like in industry, you're motivated by getting the job done for your customer, right? And
Exactly.
in academia, at least in the United States, I can't speak to how it is in Pakistan. Most of the professors in academia, they're researchers first. There are some that are great professors and great teachers, but they're researchers first because that's how they're rewarded. That's how they get to go from assistant professor to associate professor to full professor. They have to be really excellent researchers. And the skill set to be an excellent researcher and an excellent teacher is totally different, right? So I think that the two different schools are doing similar things, but they're doing it for different reasons. And so what I'm trying to do with my career is to be a conduit between each one, if that makes sense.
That's amazing, Mr. Press. It's really pleasure talking to you. We are getting short of time, so I want to ask you how you find this podcast, and just want to say anything about me and my podcast.
Yeah, no. Well, so first of all, it's been a pleasure. I've really enjoyed speaking with you about this. I mean, the time has flown by. I enjoyed meeting you and finding, a kindred spirit. I mean, we're both, teachers and professionals and consultants and family men. So yeah, that's really interesting. I enjoyed prior to coming on your podcast, watching some of the other episodes of your podcast. So I think that you're making a difference through your podcast and through your work for our society to make it better. And so I'm glad that there are other people out there that are taking that mission and trying to make a difference for their organizations and for their communities, in total. So again, thank you very much for having me today.
Well, my pleasure. And when I last time I posted on my LinkedIn about your podcast that I'm going to have a podcast with you, a lot of likes. I got a lot of likes for your podcast. The
Oh,
people were they were really liking that they will come to view your podcast. And we are working in our own domain, Mr. Tress. And there are a few people on the LinkedIn who are working on the podcast, on the professional podcast. And I'm really getting appreciation for my these podcasts. People are really appreciating me from all over the world.
yeah.
People. Having the podcast from the America, like you, from Canada, from UK, from Netherlands, from Romania, from all over the industry, from the solar industry, from the eco industry, from every industry, from the Lean Six Sigma, from the quality management, from every aspect of the professional. So the people are getting a lot of things from it, but I am also learning a lot of things from you people. So it's my pleasure, and I will love to talk again with you within within 1 or 2 months. I will again have you in my show, and it's really pleasure talking to you. And again, I will tell you, it's not Lindsay, it's Mr. Tress.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate the time
Well,
today.
it was my pleasure, and you are such a great person. Any advice in the end you want for the every professional, you are here. You can give any advice to all the professional watching you right now.
Now, I would say that the number one thing is like to go after something that you're excited about. I mean, there is a practical aspect you have to be able to provide for yourself, but I mean, it's really fun when you can find a type of work or something that is tied to something that you really enjoy, and then it's not work anymore. Then it's fun. Then you get to go on and have conversations like this on this podcast, and then go off and try to make an impact in your organization and your community. So I just encourage you all to do that. Continue to learn, connect, and do the best that you can.
Okay, that's great. Thank you so very much. Pleasure talking to you, Mr. Chris.
Yeah, have a great day.